and welcome back everyone to the video series Dedicate Show on MTV, where I cringe anytime I see a tank of extremely cold water. But luckily, nobody went off in an ambulance this episode. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge, Season 37, Spies, Lies, and Allies, Episode 16. Now let's start off where last episode left off, and that is Kyle winning against Josh in the elimination, sending him home, and Kyle swapped teams with Logan, so Logan will be back on the Ruby team while Kyle is back on the Sapphire team and coming back to the Challenge House. Kyle is excited to be on Sapphire, but we hear from Emmanuel still calling him chicken for not picking him into the elimination. It's like, Emmanuel, bro, drop it. He picked the right person to go up against. He won and came back. Then we move into a conversation between Devin and Kyle where Devin is mourning the loss of Josh and he is frustrated that he is out of this game. And Devin then puts the 100% of the blame of Josh leaving last episode on Amanda and Tori. He's not going to blame Kyle, who sent Josh home and picked Josh to go into the elimination against, and he's not going to blame Josh for losing an elimination. No. He's going to put all the blame on Tori and Amanda. Like, yeah, that makes complete sense. Now, in the next morning, CT calls for a team meeting for Sapphire, but not all three members, just him and Emmy, and he's like, can't trust Kyle. He's wondering, why did Kyle come to Sapphire? Why not go to Emerald where you have more people, you have a bigger team? Why would he come to Sapphire? Is he gonna come over to sabotage or for safety? Now, if we go back all the way to the ending of last episode, Kyle says, you can't vote me in if I'm here, so it's 100% safety. We already know this, but CT is trying to make it seem like a conspiracy theory. Like, is he gonna come over and try to sabotage us for the next girls' day? Which, Emmy's like, I'll be pissed if he does that, but ultimately, we can't do anything about it. We're here. He's on the team. We have to just work as a team and work together to try to get our third win in a row. So she's trying to get CT on board, which is not happening. Later on in this episode, she tries to get Kyle on board, try to get him to like apologize to CT for taking the stick of dynamite, but Kyle's not on that. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. He was the one that sent me into the elimination. I'm not going to apologize. Screw that. So Emmy is frustrated because it is a Women's Day. She could be on the line and the team is not going to work as a team heading into this week's daily challenge. So she's like frustrated. We move on to a boat day. Everybody got to get out of the house, get away from the game for a little bit, go hang out on a yacht, get some catering, have some fun in the water. Everyone was having a great time in the water. That is except for Devin, who was pouting on the stern or the starboard side or the poop deck. I don't know. I watch Below Deck, but it's not like I watch it for the nautical terms. I watch it for the fights and the messiness. But Devin is pouting at this boat day because he's like wondering, where is Tori's head at? Where do they stand together in their friendship in the game? Because the last time that they talked with each other, they had a huge blow up, and AKA Devin had a huge blow up on Tori, making her cry, and he's trying to figure out where do they stand together in this game. And so we go back to the Challenge House. They get to talk about it, but Tori's just wanting an apology. Like, Devin, you hurt my feelings. As a friend, I think you should apologize. And Devin is hardcore stubborn, saying, I'm not gonna apologize. You did a dumb move. It forced Josh out of this game, who was my friend and was your teammate at one point, and now he's gone, and I'm not gonna apologize. And then Tori's just like, just apologize for hurting my feelings. Just say sorry. And Devin's like, I can't just like be throwing apologies everywhere for everybody I offend or hurt their feelings. It's like, Devin, you just called Tori your number one, your best friend in the game, and you won't even give her an apology. So Tori walks away frustrated. Devin is completely wrong in this scenario, in my opinion. We then move to a small conversation between Big T and Logan, and Big T is like, I have a second chance in this game. I want to win. I'm tired of losing. This little scene right here is just to like set up that Big T is most likely going into elimination later on in this episode. She's on Ruby. They're most likely going to lose. She's in the mix since it's a Women's Day. She already was thrown in and lost. So she's probably going to be in the mix to go into elimination this episode. That's what it's foreshadowing, and that's why this little scene is here. But with all those conversations wrapped up, that's when everybody dons their challenge gear, heads down to meet TJ for this week's daily challenge called $1 Million Heist. Now in this challenge, teams will have their own vault filled with $1 million, and what they're going to have to do is fill up their 2 bags and then have to take it to their car. The team that can transfer all of their $1 million and everything that's in their vault to their car and shut the car will win into the agency, win power, and win safety. Now, I did find this challenge pretty tedious, but it is supposed to be, as this is an endurance challenge. It tests your teamwork, your endurance, and I did like the small details of having every team only have 2 bags, so it kind of nullifies the numbers a little bit, but the teams with the most numbers still had a big advantage because when you were doing the running and filling up the bags, if you were exhausted, you at least had extra hands to help put the money in the bag. So like when Devin came back to his vault and he had to take a breath and take 2 minutes, there was 4 other people that could help take that over. Whereas with your Sapphire, you have to be as efficient as possible. This really came down to 2 teams because when Sapphire was doing it, they weren't helping each other out right. They weren't filling the bags properly. They were making more of a mess than actually getting it in their bags. So they were completely out of this thing. It was between Ruby and Emerald, and both had different strategies, whereas Ruby was trying to go as fast as possible. You fill the bags to the best of your ability, but if you leave some room, you can start running and kind of keep that mobility going a little bit, and you can keep on chugging along. Whereas on the other side with Emerald, they were taking their time. They wanted to fill the bags as much as possible, do less trips. Ruby did seem like they were in the lead, and there were some minor setbacks that they had, whereas like they were showing Big T walking, but everybody was walking. I thought that was pretty like minor to harp on. And then you had Big T who ran up to try to make room in their car, and she jumped in the Sapphire car, and everybody was harping on it, but it wasn't like that big of a deal. Like they didn't accrue a time penalty or had to take more money or lost a bag for a trip or 2. It just happened. And so I just thought it was like weird to like throw that in there, but it plays later on with the voting and the agency vote and everything. So it gets down to the final 2 trips where Ruby is like putting all the money in the bag, and then they see that there isn't a ton more piles left. And Tori is just like, let's just fill the bag and let's go, and let's just make this the last trip. But Logan and Nelson shut her down, saying, no, let's not make this the last trip. It's impossible. Let's just take what we got and we can just go quickly. Once they leave, Emerald gets to their vault. Amanda goes and checks out Ruby's vault and says, look, if this isn't our last trip, we're done. Ruby's going to win this. So Emerald decides they're going to fill the bag as much as possible. They have to fill it with everything that they got left. I don't care if the bag is like ripping at the seams. They got to put everything they got, which they do. They're heading off. Ruby and them pass, and as they're passing, Sapphire's like, look, they're on their last one. Like, you gotta pick it up. But it is too late because they get to the car, they throw all the money in, they shut the back door, and it is over. Emerald wins this daily challenge, gets into the agency. We almost had a very, very spicy episode that if Ruby could have pulled out this win, it would have been fireworks with how the house was gonna like be like running around, figuring out what is Ruby gonna do? Who are they gonna throw in? Who is going to be picked out of these players who are left? I would have loved to have seen what would have happened if Ruby would have won, but since Emerald won, there's only 3 options here heading into the rest of this episode, so it's kind of like, all right, we kind of understand where this is heading, but we'll get into it. As we go back to the challenge house, we get Kyle's B-Day bash as everyone's doing like the river dance. I don't know why I did it with my fingers, but I mean, that's terrible. But they're doing the river dance. They're having a good time. Kyle is having a good time. After everything that happened the previous week, he's feeling like, wow, we finally get to have a good time, celebrate me a little bit, and I can finally have some fun in the challenge house after everything that happened recently. Now, it's at this party where Big T and Tori have a conversation where Big T is like, hey, I want to be the agency vote because I got a second chance, and if I want to make the finals, I know I have to win, and I want to feel like I earned my spot, so I want to go down into the elimination. Tori's like, cool, what would you do if you won? And Big T's like, I want to go to Emerald. Now, Emerald is freaking out about this. As we see, the next morning, they're having their deliberation in their room, and they're like, we cannot have Big T infiltrate our team. So, what if we swap out and throw in Tori as the agency vote? I guess Emerald feels like Tori would have a better shot against Big T than Emmy would, even though at this point in time, as this episode is going, before we get to the nominations and everything, Emmy and Tori have the same amount of elimination wins at 3. So the whole Emerald team is like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So Devin goes and talks to Tori about it, and Tori is like, hell no, I don't want to be the agency vote. I don't want to go into an elimination, even though a few episodes earlier at the club when they were in their winning streak, Tori was like, look, if anybody comes and swaps with us, we hope that Emerald wins the next daily. Then they send whoever was swapped out from our team, sent into the elimination. We get to pick somebody who we think we can win against, win, and then come back to Emerald to get your spot back. That's a completely different strategy now where Tori is like, no, I don't even want to go into an elimination at all. I don't care who it is, and I'd rather not go. I think it's the timing with it being so close to the finals, this possibly being the last Women's Day. Also, Tori is riding a 2 elimination losing streak at this point. So I think she's like, doesn't even want to get close to an elimination because she is freaked out about possibly losing her 3rd in a row and being out of this game so close to the finals. So she's like, no, don't do it. And she even takes a page out of Devin's book going, if you throw me into elimination, our friendship is over. So we get to the deliberation where Emmy kicks things off saying like, hey, I do not want to be the agency vote, but if I am, I'll just go down there and take care of business like I have been doing. We move over to Big T, who's like, hey, I want to go into the elimination, make me the agency vote. And that's when the Emerald team is like, ooh, maybe not, maybe we won't do that. There's a little scuffle here between Nelson and Devin, and I think Nelson clocks Devin. Nelson says like, oh, Devin, you were gassing out during the daily challenge, and all you can do is manipulate and use your words and try to manipulate your way all throughout this game. And then that's when Devin's like, yeah, you're right. I don't run. That's not my game, but I am smart and I do care about people. And basically Devin's saying like, this is a selfish game now. And since everybody else is playing a selfish game, we're going to play a selfish game and we're not going to look out for people. So if we don't throw you in, Big T, it's not personal. It's just we're doing what's best for us as the Emerald team. This is when Tori speaks up and is like, why is everybody making this so much more complicated than it is? Look, any iteration that you throw us in, whether it is Big T, Emmy, or me, Tori, as the agency vote, Big T is going to be called down. Like, that's just it. So why not just let Big T be the house vote? Which, duh, like that's exactly what I was thinking while watching this. Like, I guess because it makes for TV and there's stuff that's happening, but it's like, to me, it was like, this is so much harder than it is. Like, we know that Big T is going to go down there, whether she's the agency vote or being picked. So why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And I know another reason why Tori's doing this is because she most likely won't see an elimination if Big T is the agency vote, because if Tori's the agency vote, 100% she's going into the elimination. But if Big T is the agency vote, Tori may get off not being in an elimination this whole season, and Big T will probably pick Emmy. So Emerald talks to each other, they vote. Big T is the compromised agent, and right after the deliberation, this is when Emmy is fuming at Emmanuel, saying like, you didn't try to stick up for me at all. With Big T as the compromised agent, she's going to pick me to go down into the elimination. You just wanted to save Tori because you're in love with her and you don't want to see her leave the game. And Emmanuel's like, no, that's not it at all. Nobody was gonna vote for Tori to go into the elimination. And Emmy's like, I just wanted you to at least try. So Emmy is freaked out. She doesn't want to go into elimination. She's already seen 3. She doesn't want to see her 4th. But that's when the alarm bells are ringing and everyone gets their gear on, heads down to meet TJ at the lair where he calls down Big T. And that's when he turns it over to Big T asking, who do you want to go up against in this elimination? And Big T is looking at the elimination, trying to figure it out. She sees that there's puzzle pieces. She sees a giant tub and she goes, I'm going to call down Emmy, saying that Emmy isn't as strong of a swimmer as Tori is, and she thinks that she can beat Emmy in a puzzle. So in this week's elimination, we have Big T going up against Emmy in License to Chill. And in this elimination, the women will have to try to put their puzzle together. And the puzzle will be a giant square or rectangle. You have to try to put your puzzle together the quickest. Now, when putting your puzzle together, this is when TJ will blow a horn and you're gonna have to run in, dive into this frigid cold pool, go underneath the grate, ring a bell, and then come back the other side, and then get back to solving your puzzle. The person that can solve their puzzle the quickest wins, stays in this game, and gets to make a decision. Now, I will say that this reminded me of last week's elimination because of the bell. I didn't like it as much as last week's elimination, and it didn't hit as hard as last week's elimination, but I thought that Big T stood a very good chance. I was rooting so hard for Big T because I wanted her to prove everyone wrong, because they were talking so much smack and slander about and to Big T this whole season. And I just wanted this moment to really just like build up to just show her triumphantly winning an elimination against someone who has won 3 on the season, winning and then infiltrating Emerald and making it to a finals. I just wanted Big T to have that moment, but alas, it did not come, as no one was helping Big T at all because nobody wanted her on their team, and CT was doing his best to help out Emmy. It didn't seem like they were communicating well at all, in the edit at least, and even Amanda was like, just shut up, just let her do her thing. And it comes down to it where Emmy was able to just plop in the right pieces in the right area and win this elimination, winning her 4th elimination. Emmy wins, stays in this game, and Big T is for sure eliminated from this season this time. And now Emmy gets to make a decision on which team she wants to go to or stay on the Sapphire team, and she says that she's staying with her Uncle CT. No surprise there, so she goes back to Sapphire, and TJ's looking at all the teams, and one thing that TJ says that really sticks in my brain is he says, don't get too comfortable. And this is after like Amanda's like, I think this is the last women's elimination. I think I made it to the finals. And then Nany was like, I think me and Casey made it to the finals and we're going to run together in the finals, which was the plan all along. But there is that one line of TJ saying, don't get too comfortable. And that's where this episode ends, and that's where this video is going to end. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about the daily challenge? And what do you think about the agency vote? Do you think that Emerald did the right thing by voting in Big T? And do you think Big T made the right decision by picking Emmy? I think that maybe she could have stood a chance against Tori as well, because I think Tori was already thinking she wasn't going in, and she is riding this 2 elimination losing streak. I think it would have been a tough matchup either way, but I do think that Big T should have picked Tori. What do you think? Let me know that in the comment section below. And what do you think is gonna come from TJ saying don't get too comfortable? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge 37 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.